Hello, and welcome to No Name Podcasts. We're your hosts, Matthew and Ben.
Today's topic is the benefits and drawbacks of animal sanctuaries. We have quite an interesting show for you today, so let's get started, shall we?
Before we start, I would like to thank today's sponsor of the show, Rogue Energy. Rogue Energy's design is to replace unhealthy canned energy drinks, coffee, and even traditional pre-workouts. Rogue Energy is sugar-free and is loaded with vitamins, antioxidants, and nootropics. Use code MattyPRaps _ at the end of your purchase for 10% off. Now let's get back onto the show, shall we?
In my opinion, some of the benefits is that animals get given a new home and we help endangered animals. Now,
Right.
unfortunately, many animals species today face extinction, mainly because their natural habitats are being steadily destroyed.
Okay.
Animal sanctuaries give new homes to abandoned animals, animals rescued from dangerous conditions, all that. And they help protect animals from illegal activities such as poaching. They also serve as places where endangered animals can breed, and therefore are protected so they're not going extinct.
Yep.
Which I think it's great to have a place like that in our world. And, not only, a place that helps endangered animals, but also, a non-profitable company where any profits they make goes right back into the animals for whatever they need.
Yeah, you have I totally agree with that. It's great how, we have some sort of per se backup plan for these wild animals if something does go wrong. But in my opinion, some of the benefits are that these sanctuaries they focus on neglected animals and animals in need of rehabilitation. And these animal sanctuaries have such a diverse population of animals. Some of these animals just being tigers, bears, monkeys, and goats. And mostly all these animals are either hurt, rescued, or they're in need of some help, some sort of need of help. They get brought here because sanctuaries know like where they know how to treat these animals, and these sanctuaries have on-site veterinarians all day, every day. So even with this whole virus going on right now, my stepmom she actually knows someone that works at Big Cat. And she checks up on these animals every day to make sure that they're still healthy, make sure everything is going well, and that's amazing. And
Nice of her.
yeah, well, she kind of is a drop. Anyways,
It doesn't matter.
yeah,
She doesn't need to get paid. Who needs to get paid? That's
yeah.
useless.
Anyways, sanctuary is also rescued from circuses, which if you've been to the circus past 5 years, you can you've seen that they don't get treated the best. And when I read this, it kind of
Unfortunately.
yeah, and they don't have enough room when they get like transported from venue to venue. They don't if they do something wrong, they get horribly disciplined. And when I read that they got you rescued from circuses, like made me ecstatic. It I was excited because these animals shouldn't have to go through this. And so I just love that how these sanctuaries are helping out these animals. And personally, I think sanctuaries would be awesome if they had 2 to 3 acres minimum of just land to themselves. And I know if you've been to Busch Gardens, Ben, that these the land for these animals, it's huge. Like it's
Yeah.
more land than we have
Yeah.
for Busch Gardens,
It's
and it just
it's
it's let them
massive.
roam. And if sanctuaries turned like the humans into the animals and cramped us up instead of them, because some of the habitats in Big Cat and like the bear habitat, it's tiny, and those guys are
Hmm.
10 feet on their back two legs, and that's not right.
Hmm.
But if these sanctuaries had minimum fencing, 2 to 3 acres to themselves, I feel like that'd be acceptable. Got
Yeah,
anything
I
at the got anything?
feel a bit better. You've been talking. Your end of your speech there is kind of getting into some of the drawbacks. So I
Yeah.
say we move on and talk about some of the drawbacks then.
Sounds like a plan to me.
All right. Isn't it awful how some of these animals are treated, as you were
Yeah.
talking about? Animals and wildlife sanctuaries are like a huge part of our gap year industries
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
With countless travelers, backpackers, and tourists all alike. Hoping to get up and personal with some of their favorite animals, whether it's a bear or a monkey or whatever it is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, but not all of these sanctuaries are what they seem. Many often do more harm than good. And I think some of the drawbacks of that, a lot of the animals that are taken out of the wild and are put in sanctuaries where they're endangered or injured. And while that's great, sanctuaries are supposed to, as you were talking about, like help rehabilitate the animals.
Hmm.
Get them feeling better back out in the wild. And unfortunately, that's not what sanctuaries really do. Sanctuaries tend to keep their animals in their enclosures until they
Hmm.
die. Um, it's not right that they keep the animals in like their whole lives in enclosures,
Yeah.
and what do they do it for? Just so people can pay to look at them and touch them, It's not right.
Hmm.
Um, you know, Wild animals weren't made to be, handled by man or like tamed or snowflaked, if you will, in the sense that people are taking them in, they're giving them shelter, food, water, and if these animals were ever released out into the wild, like they wouldn't know what to do. They
Yeah.
wouldn't
They
know
would
how to
freeze up.
survive because
They become dependent.
yeah, their whole life they were dependent on humans getting them everything they needed, all the care they needed and everything. And out in the wild they don't have that, which would really set them off track.
Yeah.
So, you have anything you'd like to say?
Yeah, I mean, I 100% agree with you. They shouldn't be snowflakes, as you called it. They shouldn't be treated with like babies. That's essentially how they're treated. They're wild animals. They come into this world, yes, as a part of our food chain, but they're also in here for a reason, whether it's whatever they're in here for in the world for, and they should be rehabilitated and then just thrown out right back into the wild as where they do belong and not get used for money. And that kind of ties into what I'm thinking of is these sanctuaries, as I said previously, get rescued from everywhere. They get rescued from the wild, circuses if they're illegally domesticated, or even from breeders. And it's awesome. I love how they do that. But if you think about it, some of these sanctuaries are hypocritical because I know down here in Sarasota, Florida, Big Cat Habitat, right next to Celery Fields,
Mhm.
they have a animal show.
Yeah.
And they show off their animals. They have them do tricks. They have the lions roar. Some of these guys will get horses out and they'll do tricks off the horses. They'll do flips off of them, and it's cool and all. I get it. They have to make money somehow. But if you're gonna rescue an animal from the circus and then essentially throw them back into a version of your own circus, like as you said, Ben, and I covered a little bit in the last in the benefits, these animals here they're here to either get better or retire, and you're helping them, get back to you're helping them get better and retire and kind of hang up the hooves, if you want to call it. And now you're just gonna throw them back into shows that it's kind of sucky, if you will, that they're being hypocritical and putting them right back into what they're saving them from. You got anything?
No, I think we covered all of it.
Yeah, well, thank you guys for stopping by and listening to the first ever episode of No Name Podcast. I'm Matthew.
I'm Ben. Again, thank you all. We'll have a great show for you next time it happens, so don't go
Whenever,
anywhere.
yeah, don't
Stay
go anywhere.
tuned.
Stay right in your seat
Stay in your seat. Don't leave.
until you get
Don't
the
leave.
notification. Until you get the notification. No Name
Don't
Podcast
breathe.
uploaded
Don't
another
breathe.
episode.
Don't eat. Don't sleep. Don't leave. Stay
Nothing.
right here. Stay tuned, guys.
Yep, have a good one, y'all.
Bye.